to ruin your knees. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about the Amuri Cloud sandals from Xero Shoes. You could consider these a huarache sandal, a barefoot running sandal. We gave these a pretty good test run. Hana tested some blue ones, and I tested this charcoal black. I use mine for some running and hiking. I tried to use them on a variety of terrains. Hana, I think, did a little hiking in hers and some walking. So we'll try to show you the basic features here. These are more complicated or more complex than the do-it-yourself kit from Xero Shoes. So you can see there's actually a heel cup. It's a 6mm thick outsole with chevron tread on the bottom. There's a nice tough toe post, and then a fairly complex lacing system, and this they call it bare foam sort of inset cushioning that's 3mm thick, which I found to be comfortable. Only thing about these compared to like the do-it-yourself kits is that I don't think you'll be wanting to trim this because of the foam insert, whereas Hana's do-it-yourself sandals, you can cut them to your foot shape. But I was happy to find a sandal in my shoe size, and you can see they're very flexible. I grabbed my Vibram 5 fingers by way of comparison, and you can see they're a little more rigid versus the Xero Shoes sole. And I believe I read on their website that the Xero Shoes guys had some actual research done in a lab, and these Xero Shoes are supposed to be the closest thing to barefoot running on the market out of any of the minimalist shoes, and you can see why. So briefly, I'll tell you what my experience has been like. I've logged some miles hiking, I've logged some miles just walking around town, and did some running on trails and also on pavement. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. The hardest thing for me has been getting this lacing system just right for running. So I can walk around in them and be very comfortable, and it's easy enough to adjust by sliding this front knot around. It makes a big difference in how tight the shoe feels or doesn't feel. I'll throw it on here to show. So they're pretty easy to put on. You just essentially pull on the heel and it's easy, but by moving the toe strap around, I get different tensions on different parts of the foot, and by moving the cord through these ankle holes, it really adjusts like how the foot sits on the shoe. I noticed that my foot would get pushed way forward or way back depending on how I fiddled with the lacing. And there is this nice rubber pad on the back. I don't know the official term for that. So I didn't get any calluses there or anything. What was difficult for me running was this toe post. It would feel a little bit too loose, or it would feel a little bit too tight. And it actually started to blister a little bit. But Steven at Xero Shoes, the founder, told me basically it takes a while to find your sweet spot for these for running. And I haven't found mine yet. So for me, that's a little bit of a negative with these is they're really comfortable for walking around. They'd make a really great end of the day shoe, backpacking, or for water crossings, things like that. For running, I've had trouble getting them to be completely comfortable. And by way of comparison, I've run hundreds of miles in the 5-finger shoes. I've run thousands of miles in other minimalist shoes like from New Balance. But for somebody who's patient and willing to play around with the lacing system, there's these pre-laced shoes, which I believe you could get dialed in just right if you were patient enough. And there's also the do-it-yourself kits, which are only like 20 bucks. And these are still reasonably priced. I believe they're around 50. But the do-it-yourself kit's 20 bucks. You can lace them however you want. You could punch multiple holes in the sole if you wanted to get different configurations and to avoid rubbing. So overall, for the price point, these are a fun shoe, fun entry into minimalist shoes, and I think they're possibly the most honest test of minimalist running philosophy because they're so minimal. So the thing is, if you go from a super padded shoe to a minimally padded shoe but still padded, like there's still a heel to toe drop that's fairly significant, then what I've been reading is that um, you're more prone to get injured than if you would just go straight to barefoot or straight to something like this, because you're still possibly going to be more inclined towards bad form, like heel striking, which for me is a problem. So I'm tinkering around with my technique and mechanics, but if you want the probably best test of barefoot running without going totally barefoot, these would be a good test, and probably the best surface to try them on would be asphalt, because it will give you the most feedback. You'll know if you're stomping on the ground running. I could certainly tell on my lunch runs when I was heel striking and not landing on my forefoot. But in general, the experience of wearing these is fun. They're light, they're flexible, and I would suggest giving them a shot.